Good morning, everyone. Mike's MMA Picks here with your Fight Morning Quick Card Breakdown show, brought to you by MMA Oddsbreaker as well as BetDSI. We have UFC 261, Jorge Masvidal taking on Kamaru Usman for the title. We've got 3 title fights on this slate. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for the support. This is a long-term grind here. We are out working hard, doing the homework, every single fight card. Thanks again, everyone. If you could give the video a like and subscribe for our folks at MMA Oddsbreaker, that'll be very helpful. Long-term winner, looking to get back at it again here. Let's get things rolling, where we head to the first fight of the evening. This fight is not expected to go to a decision. 9 out of 13 bouts on this fight card are expected to finish. We've got Ariane Carnelossi taking on Na-Liang. This fight takes place at 115 pounds. We've got 2 finishers here. Carnelossi, last time out, we saw her drop a fight to Angela Hill. Extremely muscle-bound Brazilian fighter who has a short gas tank. She's coming in at a minus 215 betting favorite with a DraftKings price of 8,600. You talk about a curtain jerker that is relevant. This should be it. Na-Liang looks to come across the cage and engage her opponent. She's a grappling specialist, plus 175 underdog with a DraftKings price of 7,600. Look at all of those first round submissions. What I like to see from Liang is she's able to chain submission after submission. In this spot, it's going to be a war of attrition. Liang coming in with a massive reach advantage. She will likely be taken down. I don't see her having a problem with being taken down since she enjoys fighting off of her back. That's a dangerous spot when you rely on a fighter who is on his back or her back, potentially losing stages of a fight. In this specific bout, though, I'll be picking Carnelossi to win inside the distance, though Liang, there's limited tape on her. In fact, you look up and down this card, the first 3 bouts of the evening, we have folks who do not have significant cage time that the world has seen. Give me Carnelossi to win inside the distance. Next up, we've got a Contender Series fighter out of James Krause's gym in Glory MMA, St. Louis, Missouri. Jeff Molina coming in at minus 115, taking on Keelan-Aori. Keelan-Aori, also a minus 115 fighter at the betting window. Aori coming in with a price tag of 8,200. This fight takes place at 115 pounds. You watch Molina, he looks to keep fights at distance. I know he has a few submission victories under his belt. So does Aori, for that matter. Molina coming in at $8,000 in DraftKings. Haven't seen him in a while. He was supposed to fight Zakrudev. This fight specifically, I see these guys both engaging on the feet right off the bat. Molina looking to land his kicks, stay at range. Aori, no stranger to closing the distance. This fight, the more I watch the tape, this is one I'm going to be staying away from. In DraftKings, At 125 pounds, you should see these fighters looking to land significant strikes at range, at volume. So one to take a look at. I'll be picking Jeff Molina in this spot. Next up, we have a fighter, Zhu Rong, coming in as a minus 230 betting favorite. A DraftKings price of 9,100. This kid, 21 years of age, somehow, some way, already has 10 finish victories on his resume. That is incredible. I'm looking at his resume and watching the tape. Very aggressive fighter. Someone who's going to come in looking to get in Rodrigo Vargas's face. Rodrigo Vargas, Mexican boxer, plus 190 underdog, 7,100 in DraftKings. I do think this line is a little bit wide. This fight takes place at lightweight. You saw Vargas disqualified in his last bout. Vargas, suspect fight IQ. Wrong, not much tape on him. We know he is a striker by trade. He's been groomed for this opportunity. I'll be picking Wrong in this bout, though if this fight gets extended, that's where we may see Wrong put it on at 9,100. I don't suspect we'll see a lot of folks on him. This fight is expected to finish. Fight does not go the distance, sitting at minus 160. So give me Wrong to walk away with the victory in that spot. Next up, we've got Dana Batgerel at minus 195. This line has widened over the past few days. He is 8,500 in DraftKings, so you are getting some value at that spot. Taking on Kevin Natividad, who comes in as a plus 155 underdog and 7,700 in DraftKings. Natividad blown out of the water last time out versus Miles Johns. Saw a sports psychologist since then, and also had some issues with concussions. He's taking on a heavy hitter here in Batgerel, who has the ability to keep the fight standing. Natividad is going to have to sell out in order to drag this fight to the mat. That is his path to victory in my eyes. Quicksand is going to really have to bring this fight to Batgerel and try to drag him into deep water. Batgerel, unfortunately, though, no stranger heading to the deeper waters. I'll be picking Batgerel to win. If Natividad's chin somehow holds up, then he could potentially be live in this spot, especially the longer the fight goes. But I'll be picking Batgerel to win and likely catching Natividad inside the distance. Next up, we have a fascinating bout that takes place at 145 pounds. We've got a Canadian in Tristan Connelly, who has done his fight camp in Las Vegas for this specific bout, coming in as a plus 215 underdog and a fairly low DraftKings salary of 7,400. He's taking on a Pennsylvania fighter in Pat Sabatini, who is coming in as a sizable favorite at minus 265 and a DraftKings price of 8,800. Pat Sabatini, well-rounded featherweight, CFFC champion, who has a solid ground game, has decent wrestling, has a gas tank, can land at volume, no stranger to fighting on the feet. Taking on a Tristan Connelly who really, You talk about a deep level of commitment to make featherweight. Tristan Connelly has had his sights set on making featherweight for quite some time. And you look at his physique yesterday at weigh-ins, he legitimately looked like a raisin. The man looked like a raisin on the scales yesterday. Traditionally, a lightweight, rehydrated after the official weigh-ins, came back for ceremonial weigh-ins, and looked to fill out. I suspect he'll be adding much more water weight prior to this bout. Connelly is a grappler by trade. Striking, there's a lot to be desired in the striking realm. Connelly showed off survivable skills against Michel Pereira last time out. This fight, I see Sabatini, the longer this fight goes, I know Connelly does have a decent gas tank, but he looked like TJ Dillashaw on the scales yesterday. And we know he's got grip strength. Both of these guys are Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts. Though I think Sabatini is going to look like the much fresher fighter, the far less drained fighter. Both of these fighters have decent fight IQ, except you go back and you watch Connelly. He's on a 5-fight winning streak. Was submitted a few fights ago. Sabatini has no quit in him. You watch a few fights ago, I believe against Gonzalez. His arm dislocated mid-fight. He was still trying to fight with his arm bent with an obvious deformity. Give me Pat Sabatini to win this bout. I do think that Connelly selling out to make featherweight may potentially cost him here, and he is not the higher skilled fighter. Next up, we've got middleweights. Brendan Allen coming in at minus 160 with a DraftKings price of 8,400, taking on Carl Roberson. Carl Roberson, a plus 130 underdog with a DraftKings price of 7,800. Brendan Allen has moved to Sanford MMA. He is in the gym for a full camp. Hopefully he stays away from the striking, because that's an issue here against Carl Roberson, who is a legitimate kickboxer, and we know Roberson, when he's on the mat, he runs into trouble. And Allen has the much better ground game, much better submission game, but you watch his stand-up, and there's a lot to be desired. The Sean Strickland bout, have been others. Daukaus was able to pepper Allen up. I'll be picking Brendan Allen in this spot, though. This fight goes two ways. Either Carl Roberson comes out here and starches Brendan Allen, or Brendan Allen takes this fight to the mat and locks up a submission. This fight does take place inside of the larger octagon in Jacksonville, Florida, where we have fans inside the building. Brendan Allen has to really go for broke trying to get this fight to the mat. I don't want to see him standing up. So there's a lot of volatility in this spot. Allen has shown some durability, though his head movement or lack thereof is a major concern. So give me Brendan Allen, but I don't see this fight going the distance. Next up, we have an aging fighter in Dwight Grant at minus 210. This fight, these odds seem a little off to me. Taking on Stefan Sekulic, coming in at plus 170 with a DraftKings price, a very low DraftKings price of $7,000. I understand folks expect this fight to finish. Sekulic coming in off of a USADA suspension. It's been a while since we've seen him. Hard to look good against Ramazan Ameev like we saw last time out. Dwight Grant, though, heavy hitter. Unpredictable. We saw him put D-Rod in trouble. Almost take D-Rod out of there. This fight, Sekulic does have a grappling game to him. The longer this fight goes, I think we'll see Sekulic become more live in this spot. I'll actually be rolling with the underdog here. I think Grant hasn't shown the best fight IQ out there. Hasn't thrown punches in bunches. And he's going to have to go after this kid, Sekulic. Give me Sekulic with the upset in this spot. We're rolling up and down this card, folks. Let's see what we got. Good morning, Meticulous MMA. Great to see you. Looking forward to this card. 13 fights. 3 title fights. We're going to get to those shortly. Morning, sir. Excellent card. Trying to get this video out early. Let's cut to the chase, my friends. We've got a phenomenal welterweight bout between Randy Brown and Alex Cowboy Oliveira. Brown coming in as a favorite in this spot at -150, taking on Oliveira, who is sitting at +120 at the betting window with a DraftKings price of $7,500. Randy Brown, on the other hand, $8,700. This fight takes place in the larger octagon, as we previously mentioned, and I could see this turning into more of a kickboxing affair at range, where we're going to see Brown try to pile up some volume. Oliveira is going to look to get inside and get that body lock going, get this fight to the ground, and try to take Brown out of there. Randy Brown he's had his lights shut off a few times. In recent memory, the Vicente Luque fight, the Nico Price fight. He looked great against Warlley Alves. I'm a bit of a skeptic when it comes to Randy Brown. I was at his fight against Dwyer when he came onto the scene here. Alex Oliveira, you watched the weigh-ins yesterday. Very heated weigh-ins. I think we're going to see an Alex Oliveira who last time out lost to, is it Rakhmonov? Yeah, Shavkat Rakhmonov. We were actually on Rakhmonov last time out. In this specific fight, though, I think we're going to see Alex Oliveira come with something to prove. And he's going to look to show off a more explosive top game. And I could potentially see a finish in this fight. Both of these fighters are a bit of glass cannons, so to speak. Randy Brown can be taken out of there. So I'll be picking Alex Oliveira for the upset. Next up, we have Anthony Smith, who, believe it or not, has been finished in 13 of his 16 losses. This is a guy who has over 30 victories. He is the epitome of kill or be killed. Anthony Smith, that anomaly, you go back and watch his fights. Alexander Rakic controlled him on the ground throughout the fight. Rakic doesn't have much of a submission threat. And John Jones basically played with his food and doesn't really go for the kill. Didn't go for the kill in that spot. Anthony Smith, well-rounded fighter, has a great team behind him. taking on Jimmy Crute. Jimmy Crute coming in as the minus 210 betting favorite. This line has held steady, 8,900 in DraftKings. This is at light heavyweight. So Smith coming in plus 170. Low DraftKings price of 7,300. Smith is going to look to stay at range. I think we're going to try to see Smith keep this fight on the feet. Crute, as he's said in previous interviews, he wants to come out there and maul Anthony Smith. I see him attempting to do that. Smith, he has trouble when opponents bring the fight to him. That's when he becomes kill or be killed. And Jimmy Crute hasn't faced the best competition, but what we have seen since his loss to Misha Cirkunov has impressed me. The fight against Lord Michael, the fight against Modestas Bukauskas. I've liked what I've seen from Jimmy Crute, and he seems to be developing at only 25 years of age. Anthony Smith with 50 professional fights under his belt. That is an incredible amount of tread life. I'll be picking Jimmy Crute to win in this spot. And I could potentially see him winning this fight inside the distance, my friends. The longer this fight goes, though, Anthony Smith could potentially be live. I just don't like the takedown defense and how Anthony Smith can be controlled on the bottom. That is a problem. Next up, we have former champion and Chris Weidman taking on Uriah Hall. Both of these guys getting close to their 37th birthday. Chris Weidman coming in. He was an underdog. This line is flipped. Now he's at minus 140. Weidman has some chin issues, some cardio issues, and one thing we know is he has a tremendous will to win, and he has a great grappling game, that wrestling, the All-American. 7,900 in DraftKings, taking on a Uriah Hall who it only takes one. He could be losing the first 2 rounds of the fight, and like we saw, I've been at a few of Chris Weidman's fights, against Gastelum. He was looking great and then got floored, I believe, at the end of the first round. Uriah Hall has the ability. He's like, I call Uriah Hall Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You're not sure who's going to show up. The first time we saw that really rear its ugly head was against Rafael Natal. Plus 110 at the betting window. DraftKings price of 8,300 for Uriah Hall. Very, very interesting fight here. I see Weidman getting his grappling going. I was also at his fight against Jacare Souza, where we saw Weidman getting ahead on the scorecards, peppering with that jab, and then boom, got hit with a punch on the forehead and went down like a ton of bricks. The Romero fight, took that knee. The Rockhold beating, oh, man. So he's had the neck surgery. That's another thing that we have to mention. Earlier in the card, Tristan Connelly, 35 years of age, coming off of neck surgery, 19-month layoff. Chris Weidman, the Akhmedov fight. Fascinating bout here where I'll be picking Chris Weidman to win, though this is one of those spots where he's probably going to be winning this fight until he gets knocked out. But I'll be picking Weidman to win. I think that this is one of those cases where there are no certainties in this game. And we know he has the grappling, and that could be potentially helpful when you're playing DraftKings. But give me Chris Weidman. Next up, we head to the title fights. Valentina Shevchenko coming in as a minus 480 betting favorite with a very high DraftKings price of 9,500. She's going to have to do a lot to pay that off. She can. It's crazy to see Jessica Andrade as a 6,700 price tag in DraftKings. Plus 330 underdog, but that speaks to the level of competition here. You're fighting against Valentina Shevchenko, who, in my eyes, is the best female fighter in the world. I know there's folks out there who believe Nunes is. I want to see these girls fight it out for a third time. Valentina Shevchenko has the reach. More importantly, has the footwork in this spot. You look at back at Cynthia Calvillo against Caitlin Chukagian. That's a prime example of a fighter somebody who has takedown skills, but just can't close distance. And Andrade is one of those fighters who she's gonna march Shevchenko down. She's gonna try to. She's gonna eat a lot of punishment while she does that. If Andrade is going to have success here, she has to go to the body. Shevchenko, though, I think is just going to be too quick, too evasive, and I'll be picking Valentina Shevchenko to win and walk away with the strap. I want to see her take on Amanda Nunes one final time. Next up, Weili Zhang taking on Rose Namajunas. Weili Zhang minus 195 at the betting window, $9,000 in DraftKings, taking on Namajunas, who is sitting at plus 155 currently over at BetDSI with a DraftKings price of 7,200. This fight takes place at 115 pounds. Rose Namajunas, I expect her to come out completely dialed in. She's got Trevor Whitman in her corner. One thing that I like about Namajunas is her ability to cut angles. She has a different style than somebody like someone she's beaten twice, Joanna, former champion. Namajunas is going to look to be a rangy fighter, look to get in, look to get out. Weili Zhang, though, is a bull in there. We know she has the championship spirit. We know she can go 5 rounds. And we know that she is a killer. Weili Zhang has been a money train for me through the years. Oh, look. Cousin Gabe. Good morning, sir. A bowl in a china shop. Well, you could say that. Yes, sir. In this spot, Weili Zhang, I see her weathering an early storm, becoming frustrated at times, and then eventually the power starting to become a difference maker the longer this fight goes. You watched Rose Namajunas' last fight against Jessica Andrade, who does not have great footwork. That third round was, oh man, that was telling. You saw Namajunas barely hang on. There, you look at Namajunas, she is brittle. Look at that nose. Her chin has held up traditionally. Rose Namajunas could potentially, in this larger octagon, find a way to stay evasive and walk away with a decision victory here. She also has the ability to take this fight to the mat and be quick. Try to find the back of Weili Zhang, but the more likely outcome in this spot, I see Weili Zhang being the heavier striker, the fighter who I don't think we've seen her entire bag of tricks. She is a very highly skilled fighter, and this is her life. You don't hear about all of the anxiety issues and pulling out of title fights, etc. Namajunas has a track record of doing that, and although, you know what? I'm going to say this. She is a benefactor of Trevor Whitman's abilities as a coach. They are a great match. But I'll be picking Weili Zhang to win this spot. I think that she's just going to be too much down the stretch for Namajunas, though I do have a great amount of respect for Namajunas' ability. Excellent. Next up, let's get to this main event of the evening. Before that, though, we have a comment from Gabe who, yes. How about Collard last night coming through, defeating Anthony Pettis who did not eat his Wheaties, my friends. Talk about a fall from grace. And also Marcin Held, who beat Natan Schultz in that spot. Coming back. Impressive. PFL, the champs going down, the millionaires. But who knows? Who knows? You have fighters out there who they're sleeping in silk sheets, right? And they need to have that hunger. Marvin Hagler going to war, right? So, main event of the evening, we've got Kamaru Usman taking on Jorge Masvidal. Kamaru Usman comes in as the minus 440 betting favorite with a DraftKings price of 9,400. Jorge Masvidal plus 320 underdog here with a DraftKings price of 6,800. This fight is at welterweight. You watched the weigh-ins yesterday. Masvidal looked great. He did. One of the things, Masvidal's sole path to victory here is Kamaru Usman falling in love with his stand-up and trying to prove a point on the feet. I understand why he tried to stay at range against Gilbert Burns, who has a great ground game, but this should be rinse and repeat of their first fight. Granted, Masvidal has had a full camp. In this specific fight, I see Usman working his way into the clinch, dragging Masvidal to the ground. Masvidal not becoming frustrated. You're going to look to see Masvidal try to get the crowd involved, to have separation by the ref. That's one thing. Be aware, the referees here, they're going to be under the microscope with a full arena. They may react to the crowd. But the longer this fight goes, I see Usman draining Masvidal once again and then walking away with a unanimous victory, likely another 50-45, 50-43. We will see on those scorecards. Want to thank everybody for tuning in today. This is Mike's MMA Picks here. You can follow me on Twitter. You can also check out my plays at MMA Oddsbreaker Premium. We've got 3 plays up over there. Also, tracked at betmma.tips. Long-term winner here. Look into where you get your advice. Track your plays. And go get what's yours, my friends. Fight Morning Quick Card Breakdown Show, UFC 261. Go get what's yours, my friends. Let's do this. It's your time.